One of the best and main ways that you can help control Indian minahs in your area is to use a PG trapping cage, which I have in front of me here. But the first thing to look at is where to put the cage. It's important that we put it in a position where you have seen Indian minahs gathering on the grass. Usually it'll be an open grassy area, somewhere that you've seen them gathering multiple times. This area here is what we call the trapping area. It has what I like to refer to as a crab trap style entrance. It has two of those. As you can see, it's got one here and one here. It is always important when you're working with the birds and the wire cages to wear long sleeves and gloves at all times for safety issues. So the food will be in the middle. The cage just latches on to the containment area. This is where the birds will go. Birds naturally go upwards, so when they're actually trapped in the initial area, their natural urge is to go upwards. And we've got a shaded area here. It's very important that you give them shade. There's a water dish down here and there's also a food dish there. Even though they're an introduced species, we must be very careful with their care and not to stress them too much through the procedure. Once you've seen your Indian minahs coming down, picking up the free feeding from the dish that you have scattered around your chosen area, then we can begin with the baiting of our cage and the actual, to attempt the actual trapping of the Indian minahs. Now once we've got our food, the bait in there and ready to go, we can then again do the step that I showed you before. Making sure we've got our little gap bit here, the little gap part there, we can actually again hook it back up and again just double check that you have actually got everything aligned properly, so that once we've caught birds that they can actually go up into the shaded area and there will be room for other ones to come in and be caught. Now one thing I must stress is it may take time trapping Indian minahs. They are extremely smart birds, so I do urge you not to be put off if it doesn't happen straight away. It might take weeks. It took me I think months to start catching my first birds, and then it happened, and it will be sporadic. You could catch 10 in one day, then you might go several weeks without trapping anything. It's just best to keep a good eye on the backyard. When you're seeing them gathering for a few days, you can get the cage back out. You don't have to have it set up all year round. It's just when you see them there, you can actually make the effort to put the cage out there. Another method of trapping that we have found successful is to use a decoy bird. Now, if you have had your cage set up and you have actually trapped an Indian mynah and he's in the containment area here, he's quite safe with the shade, the water and the perch. Indian mynahs are gregarious birds, which means that they like to stick together. So one of the tactics that we have is, for a limited period of time, you can leave a decoy bird which will call to the other birds, letting them know also that there's food here and also that they're in trouble. Their call will bring other Indian minahs in, and hopefully you may be able to trap them as well. One of the things I'm going to show you is how to get birds out of the cage without actually handling them. This is what we call a transport cage. So first, make sure that this door is open. You'll find little hooks here and here which will hook on. Be sure to match up this area with the little doorway that will be opening to let the bird fly through. Okay, now there is a little lever here, so you don't actually put your hand in there to actually open the door. Making sure that the holes are actually matched up between the two cages, I'm now going to try to get the bird to go through. One of the birds anyway. Okay, yep. Oh, we got two that time. Two's better than one. Okay, making sure that you've closed the door to the actual containment cage. You can then, watching that the birds are away from the door, close the cage of the transport cage before you actually move it off from the hooks. So just double checking that we've got all our doors closed. I will gently be pulling this away. It's also very important that when you're transporting the birds that you actually put a towel over the top to to make sure that they don't stress too much during transport.